Today I noticed a problem on my door handle, so I decided to create a spare part. This part will be designed in xDesign, a full cloud application, and it will be 3D printed in PLA plastic. The goal of this video is to see how to design this part in details with xDesign. As always, I start with the name of the part, and I choose the plane for the first sketch. I use the sketch tools. For more information about how to arrive at this point, please watch previous videos. From there, I will create a slot for outer shape with a hole in the center. As you can see, adding dimensions reshapes the slot. Once thickness is added, I round the edge with a fillet feature. As the handle cannot be removed from the assembly, I need to create an opening from the part. For that, I just change existing sketch to add the relevant edges. Look how sketch entities change color when they are fully defined with dimensions and geometric relations. It is important to make sure changes to other dimensions will not produce strange geometry. We will see what could happen later. Once the sketch is okay, I change the feature to take the right contour, and as the edge where I added the fillet disappeared, I just need to edit the fillet feature and select a new edge. I don't have to recreate the feature, values are still there. This opening is nice, but it may slip, so I will change the whole shape so the part is held in place. Look how easily I can change a sketch and update geometry. Then I add a recess to hold the part in the other direction. Here I use offset geometry, but I make a mistake when I remove some geometry. The sketch turns blue, which means it's not fully defined. We'll see later the impact of that mistake. To be sure part doesn't fall once on the handle, I will also add a small part to lock the assembly in place. To do that, I will first create a slot in my main part, centered on the origin, horizontally, and create a cut to host this lock part. I leverage symmetry to make sure everything is balanced correctly. As the part is in plastic, I prefer making the opening wider so it won't break. Again, just changing one dimension updates everything. I also move the lock housing to make the part stronger. Then I create directly the new part I need into my existing part and reuse existing contour. This is great, I don't have to create an assembly, insert the existing part and create a new part in the assembly. Here everything is done seamlessly and I love that. I create shapes of the new part based on existing one, so they will fit together. You may also have noticed how fillets are added with a simple sweep of the pointer to the right size. Who knows if the fillet is 3 or 0.3 mm? Here you don't guess the value, you just refine it once placed if needed. I can add the volume and the fillet, so the lock will be invisible once installed. Then I add the lock system and leave some space because my 3D printer has an accuracy around 0.1 mm. We will refine that later anyway. When I add the rectangle, I see that some material is in the way. So I just cut the sketch rectangle into smaller rectangles. And reassign the solid extrusion to the right contours. I also refine the space between these two parts. 0.25 mm is way too much. Lock will not stay in place. So I reduce the value to 0.1, so it should snap in place. I also leave space at the extremities because it's not functional and add a symmetry since the slot is symmetrical. Now, this step is not mandatory, but because I like my models organized well, I also create a part for the spacer features. Just selecting the features I want, here all of them, and turn them into a new part. So the part I started with is now an assembly. Convenient, isn't it? This will also give me the ability to open and move the spacer without the lock if I want to. Again, workflow is faster than usual part and assembly workflows in other CAD systems. Now I will prepare directly my print layout in the assembly. At that time, I didn't know there was a specific feature for that in xDesign. Too bad for me. So I move the lock, turn the spacer, and align them vertically to define how the part will be printed. I thought part was finished, but I see there is a thickness issue with the offset. This is due to the mistake I mentioned earlier when I left the blue contour in the sketch. As sketch entities are not constrained, they can move freely. Therefore, I start over with a sketch slot that I lock this time on centers. See how I make the center of this circular shape visible just hovering on the part edge. Once the value is entered, sketch turns black, so now I know it's fully defined. My part is ready for 3D printing, so I use the tool included to create the STL file in the right direction. So no support is needed, and I drag and drop the file created directly in the slicer. Once I've checked the printing parameters, I create the file needed to print the part. The slicer is a software provided by your 3D printer to create the code to print the part. I try the log to see if it fits. Sounds and looks fine. So I mount it on my door handle. First click shows that spacer will stay in place, and the second click shows that 0.1 mm is the right offset to secure parts together. Now screws are protected. If you want to do the same, just connect on solidworks.com/makers. That will bring you on this page where you can order your license and start working on the cloud. Thanks for watching, and see you for the next project.